off your engine! Scotty's 94 Celica says, gee, I didn't know my car could type and knew how to use the internet, but I guess it can. Hey, Scotty, I recently purchased a 2019 Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport 4x4. I looked at the door sticker and it said it's made in Mexico. Is this bad? Thanks. All right. Well, I prefer the ones that were made in San Antonio, but now they're making them all in Mexico. But on the other hand, if you watch all my videos, a few months ago, guy brought in an old Tacoma that was made in Mexico. It had like 160-something thousand miles, still ran like a clock, had no problems. People came by and said, what is that, a new truck? I said, no, look how old this thing is. And they said, wow, the paint held up. So it's not horrendous. You know, it's not. I'm just personally, I like the ones made in San Antonio better. And even with Japanese cars, I don't care. I'm old school. I like my Japanese cars made in Japan. My Celica's made in Japan. My wife's Lexus was made in Japan. They just seem to last forever. Well, BMW is launching their new flagship iX electric SUV that has 300 miles of range. They're planning on having them ready to sell in Germany in the second half of 2021 and in the United States in 2022. From what I've seen in BMWs, the problem with BMWs is the level of technology that they put in their internal combustion engines and transmissions makes them extremely expensive to repair, and as they age, they would often break and cost a fortune to fix. Well, electric motors are a lot simpler, so are batteries, so who knows, they might end up making a great product. Remember, it was the Germans who made the Volkswagen Beetle that revolutionized cars for a while. Electricity is a different ballgame. Could be that they'll make really good vehicles. Now, of course, it'll be a BMW, so you know it's not going to be cheap. They didn't mention the price, but most people are guessing it's going to be $70,000 or more, so they're not going to be cheap cars. Now, here's the skinny on how they work. At one of those level 2 charging stations, they say that they'll get 75 miles of range for every 10 minutes of charging time. And they say they can be charged from 10% to 80% in about 40 minutes. But still, if you almost drain it completely and you have to go from 0 to 100%, even at a level 2 charging station, it is going to take 11 hours to recharge the thing. So, you know, we're still talking electric cars that take a long time to recharge. They're not in the convenience of regular cars where you fill them up in 5 minutes and drive away. 11 hours? That's a long time to wait to recharge your car fully. But they do have the technology, like I said. If you can get 75 miles of range and 10 minutes of charging, you're in a hurry and you're only going 30 miles, plug it in for 10 minutes and away you go. So, you know, there's pluses and minuses of everything. Now, from what they show, they do have that kind of ridiculous-looking kidney-shaped front on them. I think their front end looks ridiculous, these two kidney shapes. But, you know, that's style these days. People have weird ideas of what they think looks good. But in line with this SUV, BMW says they're planning to electrify most of their range of vehicles. So the Germans seem to be getting heavily into electric cars. They have more rules in Germany that they got to be green. So it's no surprise that the Europeans are jumping into the electric business faster than the Americans are. Plus, they have a lot smaller place to go, too. It's not that far from one country to another in Europe. It's a tiny place, unlike England. I mean, it's only so long and so wide. It's not like it's a gigantic place like the United States where you can drive for thousands and thousands of miles. So let them perfect it in Europe. When they get it perfected, then they can bring them over here as far as I'm concerned. Avic4 says, Scotty, I got a 2011 Honda Civic. It wobbles aggressively when it's cold, and after 20 minutes, it's barely noticeable. I replaced the old tires with new ones. Changed sway bar links because rubber was torn. Didn't change a thing. When it's cold, it feels like something's going to go, but after a while, it disappears entirely. Any ideas? All right. I would say it's probably time for new struts because when they're cold, they're just sitting there, and you get a wobble because they're not going evenly. They're jerking. But once they heat and warm up, the fluid inside warms up, then they start working correctly, and they dampen it. Instead of damping it unevenly, they're all warmed up, the fluid's warm, and then it dampens evenly and stops doing that. I've seen that billions of times. It's almost always worn out struts, and it's hard to diagnose it because, you know, it's only when it's cold, not when it's hot. And so when it's hot, when you check them, they seem okay. But from my experience, you need new struts. And what I would do is start with the front ones first, because a lot of times it's only the front ones. You don't have to change all four. But if it gets better with the front ones, but still a little bit, then change the back ones. But the front ones on a Civic are going to wear out the most because the engine and transmission is in the front, so they get strained a lot more than the back. I've seen some Civics that were 30 years old, still had the original ones in the back, and they still worked okay. But the front ones will wear out first. Is this Johnny Weir? Well, who knows? Hey, Scotty, I got a 2009 Kia Sedona with 117,000 miles. It sounds like a helicopter when I drive in the front, and I've looked on the front, and I can't see anything that's loose. Okay, I can just about guarantee you it's the axles going out, the axle bearings in the front, one side or the other. Because that kind of noise, it's almost always worn axle bearings. Bearings, as they go woo, 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 and the faster you go, woo, 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 woo. And if it goes faster, the faster you drive. As you drive, the wheel spins at higher RPMs, the pitch will go up. It's your axle bearings for sure. And it's, what you got, a 12-year-old Kia isn't surprised. Try to figure out which side it is first, because let's say it's the left front. If it's the left front, when you veer to the left when you're going 40 or 50 and there's no one around, you veer to the left a little. If the noise gets louder, you know it's the left front. And conversely, if you turn to the right and it gets louder, but then you turn to the left and it gets quieter, it's the right front. Now, if it gets loud the whole time, it's both of them, but generally, one will go before the other. J. Connor 22 says, Scotty, I'm 17. I'm looking to buy a 1996 C4 Corvette with manual tranny and an LT4 V8 engine. Your thoughts? What should I look out for? Okay, well, you're 17, and you probably got a lead foot on your mind that's a very fast car. You better drive it conservative if you get it. But before you buy anything, they can be good cars. They can be fun to drive. But they can also be endless money pits because a lot of guys buy those things, they rag the heck out of them. So before you plop any money down, have a guy like me check it out before you make the purchase. Just don't go out and buy one and say, oh, look, it looks great, because I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen around here a few months ago. And then you find out, oh, well, the frame's cracked and all kinds of problems exist. You want a mechanic to check it out first. Now, there are some good ones out there because there's a lot of older guys like me that they'll have them and they baby them. They don't drive them much, and they're great ones to buy when the people decide they don't want to have it anymore. Be very leery about a young guy who's selling one, because generally they rag the heck out of them and they get rid of them when they think they're falling apart. So do have a mechanic check it out first. They can be fun. They're great things for driving around in, but you want to make sure you're not buying somebody else's problem. Check it out. BMW is now working on a flying car. Well, not a flying car, a flying person. This flying suit guy here, it's powered by BMW. And it goes 186 miles an hour. It's one of those flying suits. And this guy, Peter Salzman, is trying it out. It's an electric flying suit. BMW is getting into electric vehicles, just like everybody else. Now, this electric wingsuit can boost speeds up to 186 miles an hour. But we're not talking about the guy stands there and takes off. You're jumping out of a plane in the first place. As a 15 kilowatt total output, split between two electric motors that spin at 25,000 RPMs. And of course, this is for those wingsuit flights. You jump out of a plane, whatever, and then fly around for a while. Of course, they gave no idea what the actual range is, and only a professional can do it. This guy's a professional parachute jumper and skydiver. He knows what he's doing, but it's kind of interesting that BMW now has a flying car suit. It doesn't have any wheels on it, but it flies through the air, and it's powered by BMW electric motors. Check it out. Nick wants a Toyota, says, Scotty, my girl is a 2017 Chevy Cruze diesel with automatic stop-start when it idles. Is there a way I can deactivate it so it idles normally and doesn't wear and tear? Thanks. Well, there's always a way. There's guys out there that have kits and stuff. And yes, it is a very stupid system. 90-something% of the wear of your car starts upon startup. So if you keep starting and stopping it, not just the starter, the bearings can wear out, the piston rings will wear out, the cams can wear out. It's just a plain stupid idea. Just like beyond the automatic start-stop, those ones that have the shutting off some of the cylinders, the deactivation, that's just as bad because they found out that then the deactivated cylinders, they don't get the lubrication right. They end up wearing out faster that way and have internal engine problems. It's just plain stupidity adding this stuff on. Now it makes them look good for the gas mileage ratings for the federal government, yes. But it's going to lower the lifespan of your car. It won't go as many miles. And that's what I want out of a car. I mean, I want a car that can go 200, 300, 400,000 miles. I don't want one that, it gets a little bit better gas mileage, but then it's got 100-something thousand, the engine goes out on it. That's just robbing Peter to pay Paul, like those Hondas, the 1.5 turbo GDIs that have oil dilution problems. Okay, they want the GDI and turbo for more power and better gas mileage. Yeah, well, if it wears your engines out and the timing chain goes or the piston rings, they start burning oil because of oil dilution. Really, I think that was a stupid idea to do that in the first place. So if you can find a place that can deactivate them, go ahead and have it done, because it is a stupid system if you want something to last forever. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.